Welcome to Knicksfandom. This is an independent New York Knicks fan-based podcast, which was created by fans for fans. The show is hosted by LA Blackwell, Danny, and Flau. They'll discuss the issues surrounding the Knicks, the NBA, and various other sports-related topics. Join us. It's going to be a heck of a ride.
Bittersweet memories. That is all I'm taking with me. Knicksfandom episode 32, people. And on today's show, we discuss the end of an era as the seemingly constant trade rumors surrounding Knicks fans. Now, former franchise player Carmelo Anthony has finally came to fruition. And that's the song I think a lot of fans are singing right now. Bittersweet memories right now, people. The New York Knicks finally traded Carmelo Anthony to the Oklahoma City Thunder for center Enes Kanter, forward Doug McDermott, and a 2018 second-round pick via the Chicago Bulls. Anthony, 33, reportedly finally waived his no-trade clause, but only for the following teams: the Thunder, the Rockets, and the Cavs. And his $8.1 million trade kicker to accommodate the deal, lead sources told ESPN. A trade call is scheduled for Monday to finalize the deal with the league office. And that's where we at right now. As always, I'm your host, LA Blackwell. Hope all the listeners out there are doing well. As usual, I'm glad to be joined by my co-host, Flo. How are things, Flo?
LA, I'm great, brother. How you doing today, man?
It's good, man. It's good to be back on the air. A lot to talk about regarding this trade. As always, also great to be joined by my co-host, Danny D. How you doing, Danny D?
I'm good, LA. What's going on with you, man?
I'm good as well, man. It's a lot to talk about, fellas. But before we get into it, got to take care of some housekeeping issues. If you haven't done so, fans, we would really appreciate it if you could subscribe to the YouTube channel, our iTunes page as well. Also, please leave a review on the iTunes when you get a chance. It only takes a few minutes, but it definitely helps with our overall rankings. And now that we got that all out the way, let's jump right into it in our special episode of Knicksfandom. Starting with you, Danny D. What are your initial thoughts regarding the major trading of Carmelo Anthony? And what do you think, would this ultimately prove to be a good trade or a bad trade for the Knicks?
Ultimately, my thought goes out, man. I gotta say thank you for Melo. You know, he gave us some great times, some up times, and some down times as a New York player. And I gotta say thank you for his time and his efforts in New York. You know, I gotta tell him, man, thank you. He went through a lot. And he gave a lot. Overall for the trade, what can I really say? You know, he had a no trade clause. He only had really 2 or 3 teams that he really wanted to go to, and I think he deserved a shot to try to go win a ring. You know, Enes Kanter and McDermott in the second round pick. I really wanted a first round pick and maybe some kind of a team with a guard that can really help us. But what can you do? Overall, for the Knicks, I really can't say. You know, do I think it was a great trade? No. Do I think it was a bad trade? No. I'm going 50-50 on it. Because like I was talking to you guys earlier, I thought we really had enough bigs already, you know? You bring in Kanter. Kanter, offensively, he's good, but defensively, he's kind of shaky. And then Doug McDermott, he's no Carmelo. He's a guy who can shoot and whatever, with set up shooter, but he can't create his own shot. So is it enough in the East? Hopefully, because you know all them dudes is moving on the West Coast right now. If you think you're gonna make an All-Star team in the West, you're in trouble. Flo, your boy Damian Lillard, he ain't never gonna make an All-Star team now, ever. It's over. He's gonna get snubbed he's gonna get snubbed every year because it's packed in the West. But overall, you know what I'm saying, he had to go, and we got the best deal for him right now, and I'm okay with it.
Okay, and not to interrupt you, but one thing I saw Damian Lillard recently said that he would not join a super team. He's not with that at all. Not see if he's still going to keep that same thought 2 or 3 years from now, but that's just something he put out there.
I bet when they don't make the playoffs.
And what you thought about for the Thunder? Do you think that's a good deal for them, good or bad? Just looking at them on the outset.
It's gonna be good because they gotta make noise. You know what I'm saying? Sam Presti's them boys out there, they have to make some type of noise because the West is constantly getting better. They're getting better every week. These guys getting better. First it was half and half. Then Houston said, you know what? we're going to do a trade. We're going to get CP3. You're like, damn, man. You want to keep Westbrook. That's why you wanted Westbrook to sign that deal. You went and got Paul George. He was like, you know what? We might as well go for the knockout. We might as well get another player over here. We get Carmelo, and then we can try to compete. We can compete in the West. Even though Carmelo is 33, he's still a bona fide scorer. He might lack in defense, but he can score the ball. I don't know how them three is going to work together. You know what I'm saying? They're all grown men. They can work together. They play in the Olympic team and try to ball. It's a great move for Oklahoma, in my opinion.
Okay, much appreciated, Danny D. How about you, Flo? Same question. What do you think about this deal for the Knicks? Is it a good deal for the Knicks as well? And what do you think about this deal for the Thunder?
It was actually my grade for the Thunder. They get a B for this trade. The reason why I gave the Thunder a B is because Sam Presti rolled the dice. He's laying everything out on the table, and he's playing for this year only. What he did was he traded role players for Paul George, and then after that, he made his second trade to get acquire a third superstar, traded role players again, and a draft pick for Carmelo Anthony. So all in all, I would say for Sam Presti and the Oklahoma City Thunder, my grade for them is a B. As for the Knicks, for me, right now, the grade I'll give the Knicks right now is a D minus. Right now, LA. We had this conversation during the production meeting last night. This trade was actually is setting up the Knicks for 2019. That's why this deal was done. Knicks, they had no leverage whatsoever. Melo controlled the ball in this deal. He had all the leverage in the world. He said he had a no trade clause in his contract. One of 3 NBA players have a no trade clause in his NBA contract. The other 2 players are Dirk Nowitzki, future Hall of Famer, Dallas Mavericks, and the other player is the best player in the NBA right now, LeBron James of the Cleveland Cavaliers. So Melo got the no trade clause from our previous GM of previous president of basketball operations. I won't mention his name. And that was probably the only way Melo was going to re-sign with the Knicks. He needed power. He got the power that he wanted. He got the previous president of basketball operations got fired once he started thinking about moving Porzingis, feuding with Melo. It's been a really, really a chaotic ride for Melo the last couple of years, but I'm happy he's going to play for a contender. He deserves it. Gets a chance to win, try to play for a chip. Like I said, it's a good trade for Oklahoma City Thunder. If they get to the Western Conference Finals, then this becomes the loser. The biggest loser in this trade, to me, would be the Los Angeles Lakers, not the Knicks, the Los Angeles Lakers. I think that would convince Paul George to stay. So I think right now for the Knicks, they get a D minus. But hopefully, the 2 players you got back in return in the draft pick, you got Enes Kanter, offensive-minded big man that can put the ball, that can score on the low post. His defense is suspect. Doug McDermott, who has an expiring contract, so if he stinks it up with the Knicks, let him walk. Not a big deal. With Kanter, he has a player option. Kanter's going to have to decide. Based on the way he plays this season, whether he's going to opt in, thinking by betting on by thinking that okay, you know what, no team's going to offer me more money than the Knicks. The Knicks are going to offer me based on the current contract he signed with OKC, or if he's going to bet on himself and decide to opt out. If that's the case. Guess what? Knicks don't have to re-sign him. Free up more cap space. I don't have a problem with that.
Okay, I hear you, Flo. On my thing, we talked about this right before it actually broke previously, and I actually pretty much called the deal verbatim, except for the draft pick. And the Knicks were handcuffed by this point. This is not Melo in his prime. And once the Jimmy Butler deal went down, once the Paul George deal went down, and you saw how the market was, he wasn't getting a lot or king's ransom for Melo at this point. Now a guy that's 33 years old, and he only gave you 3 teams to choose from. So the Knicks basically was battling from behind the 8 ball, and they had to make something out of nothing. The biggest thing was like 2019. That's the thing I was looking at, and they made sure they didn't lock themselves into any long-term contract. this team, as we've been stating for the last month or so, is not winning anything soon. So at this point, you had to break this team up. This is kind of what they did with Donnie Walsh, and you're doing a reboot. And this is what you're doing right now when you try to make that big push for LeBron back then, and you was trying to combine him and bring him together with Stoudemire and all those things. Stoudemire ended up being your consolation prize, which I'll get into more of that later on. And this is what you're trying to do. You're trying to set up yourself to make a big push in 2019. It's a lot of big-time free agents back then that we'll talk about coming up in the future. And you want them to play Porzingis. That was the biggest thing that you didn't have with LeBron, why he didn't want to come here, on top of maybe the pressure with certain things. You have to ask him with that personally. But on top of that, you didn't have the other piece with him to make LeBron feel comfortable enough to want to play with this team. You only had David Lee at that time. That's the only all-star you had on this team. You can't afford to take these players and think they're going to come to this team and just be one play anymore. That's over. So you hope Porzingis could be a star player. You get 2 years out of him. Let him get to that point where maybe he's a number one or number two definite franchise player. You have Frank that's going to develop in that same time as well. And then you add a big-time player maybe in 2019. You'll have enough cap space to go after at least one or two of those players. But we'll get into more detail with that. So to me, I'll give this deal at least a B, B+, maybe B-, if things work out the way it could possibly be at this point. But we'll talk about that more as we go along in the show, fellas. And for the next question, just asking both of y'all. This time I want to start with Flo. Pretty much looking back at Melo's career, the Knicks never advanced past the second round of the playoffs. The club missed the postseason entirely in each of the past 4 seasons. The Knicks finished with 207 and 269 record during Melo's 6 full seasons and went 1-3 in playoff series via ESPN. So would you say Melo's tenure with the Knicks was a success, a failure, or does it lie somewhere in between? What you think about that, Flo?
Hate to say this, but first, I want to say thank you, Melo, for the memories. Appreciate you. Wish you all the best, OKC. But at the end of the day, Melo's career as a Knick was a failure. Unfortunately, the Knicks weren't able to win a ring under Carmelo Anthony. It's a shame, but much success to Carmelo Anthony, OKC. But at the end of the day, it was a failure in the Knick uniform.
Okay. How about you, Danny D?
I'll go half and half. It's not going to. We know it's not a success. We know that off the bat. It's going to go half and half. It's going to be a failure, and we're going to say a failure with an asterisk because he didn't get the help that he was supposed to get. And when he did get the help, they made it to the second round of the playoffs. But you needed a loaded team with an Asian Rasheed Wallace and an Asian Jason Kidd to actually run a team with it. He needed another superstar in the team, not a superstar, but a general to run the team, and he didn't get that. So that's why it's a failure. It'll go half and half with me with an asterisk. Because of that.
Okay. I kind of agree with you there, Danny D. It's in between, but I would lean more like Flo said to the failure part. I was a Melo fan. I was very excited when that first happened. Big congrats on, I always was big on a player who actually tried to win with his hometown team. He tried to do what LeBron did. And, I gave him respect for actually re-signing when a lot of players was running from their team, running from responsibility. And that's one thing Melo really never did. He never really pouted and complained about who he didn't have, and didn't run and join the super team and try to do it that type of way with the Bulls when he could have done it. And probably should have done it looking back at it now. But, I respect him on that level for doing that. It's kind of like how Pat Ewing tried to do. But Pat got more done when he was here. But looking back at it now, it's one thing that you always said, Danny D. When we talked about it, Melo kind of handcuffed himself from the very beginning here. If he would have just waited and never been traded and just took the free agency thing, he still could have got his money, but he could have got a little less like LeBron chose to do when he went to Miami. But he wanted his full max money as well as the trade when he wanted it. That hurt the Knicks totally with the assets they had at the time with Gallinari, Chandler, and the draft pick and everything of that nature. Had you waited that year, you could have got all those pieces, stayed with them, and built around Melo, and the couple wouldn't have bailed when you traded for him. So you kind of made yourself play from a deficit when you really didn't have to. And that was the thing that with Melo is either do you want to win or you want to put up numbers. If you wanted to win, that was the way to go. And sometimes you got to sacrifice in order to get the best you can do for your career and for the team. And that's one thing he didn't do at the time. That's just another thing that kind of hurt with the Bulls, It's like, do you really want to win or do you want to take a little chance or a little less? He wanted his contract. So you got to deal with the repercussions of that sometimes. So, a lot of what could have, would have, should have been, the Stoudemire thing didn't help at all because once he got hurt, that was your second piece, and it never worked out. Even when they both was on the floor, even it was one person was never healthy, and then they never really played that great together anyway. So the thing was, you really had preferred to get LeBron here or somebody, another player that caliber, to play with him before he got here, and that just never worked out for him. So, tough break for the Knicks, tough break for Melo in that respect. And just asking y'all furthermore, would you have made this trade if you were the Knicks general manager, Scott Perry? Starting with you, Danny D, overall.
You have to. You have to, because first of all, Melo didn't. He already said from some time he did not want to be in New York. What's the point of having a disgruntled all-star that doesn't want to play? What's the purpose? And you had to get the best value. I know you guys heard the other report that they tried to reach out to the Cavs and they was going to do a trade and involving Tristan Thompson and with the first round pick, and the Cavs were like, "No, we're not doing that." And we didn't want excuse my French, with Ryan Anderson. I don't want that bum. So I would have to take this deal because, like you said, he's handcuffed. I would have to go with this deal. I would have made the deal.
Okay, thanks, D. How about you, Flo? Would you have made this deal? Or what would you have done if you were Scott Perry?
Well, let me rephrase your question, LA. Would I have traded Carmelo Anthony? Yes. If I'm Scott Perry, would I have made this deal? No. But you were forced to make this deal. At the end of the day, the Rockets contacted the Knicks. They offered Ryan Anderson, and Scott Perry probably hanged up the phone on Darren Morley. And Darren Morley was like, "Hello, Scott. Hello. Damn it, Scott. Why you keep hanging up on me? I keep offering Ryan Anderson. You keep hanging up on me. Come on." But what I would have done, actually, I would have moved Melo in 2013 when the Knicks lost to the Indiana Pacers in the second round of playoffs. That's when I would have traded Carmelo Anthony. The Knicks re-signed him in 2014 as a free agent. But I would have moved him. Once they won 54 games, they lost the second round to the Pacers when they had a veteran roster with Jason Kidd, who couldn't make a basket. He was 0 for 40. And Rasheed Wallace was on the team, et cetera, et cetera. That's when I would have moved Melo, right after that season. Because you look at it, the following season, Knicks struggled, and Phil Jackson was signed near the end of the season, and Mike Woodson was fired. Finished with a record 37-45. The Knicks should have traded Melo in 2013. That's what they should have done. Move Melo 2013, not now. That's the problem I have with this deal going down yesterday.
Okay, I hear you. I hear you on that, and it was tough to kind of make that move right then because that was the last time you really saw this team make a real good push, and that team wouldn't even made it that far without Jason Kidd. He just ran out of gas, but that team, that was like his second best player to me, and that's a big problem when you look at Melo's career. I think that's the things you look at when you go back and look at this deal is that thing that really hurt him was that LeBron was signed back in the week of July 8th, 2010. And Melo then wasn't traded until the week of February 21st, 2011. By him not coming here, it set it up that he was going to be behind the eight ball at that point because he didn't have that second piece, as I stated earlier, with Stoudemire. And also the big issue after that is that you can't give these guys these no-trade clauses. That got to be the last one the Knicks ever do. Because when this doesn't go right and it doesn't go well, it handcuffs you and you force to make deals you never would have made. You had 29 other teams you could have worked with, and you chopped it down to 3. Right there, you was killing yourself by what type of deal you possibly could have made. And that's a huge issue looking at it, or what you look at with the other teams when you break it down. The Rockets, Ryan Anderson. You did not want to make that deal because he still had a ton of money left on that last year. He had almost, I believe, like 20-something million, close to that, going into that last year. The thing is, this team want to have money by the third year. That's what they really want to do. They want to make that big push. And you don't want to have that money locked up with that type of dude. He had $21 million, I believe. Same thing with the Blazers. You only have like a Mo Harkless, a Lennon, and a Evan Turner. Those are the type of guys that you can make that deal work. $11 million with each of the first two and $17 million with Evan Turner. You don't want to have that type of money locked up with another year to go in 2019, 2020. The last person you had was the Cavs, and you had to do Tristan Thompson for $18 million of that year, which is another extra year, instead of being done with the deal with Kanter in 2 years. I don't believe Kanter or McDermott are going to be with this team anyway in the next 2 years. I think they just did that so they could have their money, have their cap space in 2 years, and not have the headache of Melo. They don't want Melo, Poison, and Porzingis. That's what they scared of right now. So I'm trying to talk Knicks fans off the cliff. That's what this is about. 2 years from now, The longer you got Melo on this team, the more wins you're going to get with this team. You don't want to win more games these next 2 years. These next 2 drafts, you got a chance to add more pieces with Porzingis. You got now a chance to get a top 5 pick. Last year they got the 8th pick with Frank Nicolia. So you could get dropped now between 1 and 5, hopefully. And this draft coming up, they say it's only about 5 players deep. So you get that player, another one to top 10 pick the following year, to go with Porzingis and then have 2 max contracts available cap space wise. Then you got a chance to really make some noise in the next 2 years. So that's what the Knicks are hoping right now. Not saying that's going to work, because we've seen them try this before, but hopefully with Scott Perry being a player's type of GM, that's what you're hoping for right now there, fellas. That's my main opinion regarding this matter. And it's like, this is basically the best you could do right now with what you got. So to me, I'm saying if those things work out, this might be a deal you look back at and say, there was the beginning of something for the Knicks fans to look forward to. Actual real future now. But just moving on from that, is there anything else regarding this major trade that y'all fellas think that we haven't really covered, or the organization as a whole? And what do you think about that overall? Starting with you this time on Flo.
LA, you got to thank our previous president of basketball operations for destroying Carmelo's trade value, number one. And you got to thank LeBron James for this Carmelo Anthony trade. LeBron James started the super team era. You got to blame him. So now every team wants to create a super team. It started with LeBron James in Miami. He lost to Golden State one year. Then he beat Golden State when he came back to Cleveland. Lost to Golden State again when Golden State decided to build a super team around Kevin Durant. So we got to thank LeBron James for this. Thank LeBron James and thank our previous president of basketball operations. They're to blame for the Carmelo Anthony trade. If anyone want to be upset, those are the 2 people you need to be upset with for this Carmelo Anthony trade that went down last night.
But what about Melo himself, only limited to these 3 teams?
Well, again, I can't blame that on Melo. I would have loved Melo to expand his horizons in terms of putting more teams out there. But again, you got to thank our previous president of basketball operations. He offered Carmelo Anthony a no trade clause. That hamstringed the Knicks, because you think about it, Melo only had open to the idea of going to Houston. Knicks couldn't get a deal done. They were not interested in Ryan Anderson. What the Knicks really wanted was Eric Gordon and Trevor Ariza. Trevor Ariza had an expiring contract, which I don't have a problem with. But again, Houston said no. They're not giving up those 2 players. They need both of those players, because you have to remember both of those players are influential in getting Chris Paul to come to the Houston Rockets. So they're not going to get rid of those 2 players. Now, Cleveland Cavaliers. The Knicks wanted their first-round pick, like Danny D mentioned, which is the Brooklyn Nets pick, unprotected. That's what the Knicks wanted. Cleveland said no. The reason why Cleveland said no, because at the end of the day, they realized that if they trade that number 1 pick, that means they can't trade their first-round pick that they own. So that's why they didn't want to give up the Brooklyn Nets pick that they acquired via the Isaiah Thomas trade from Boston. So I know the Knicks are in love with Tristan Thompson. I know LA, I know how you feel about Tristan Thompson, but at the end of the day, LA, if you love D'Angelo, if you love what's his name? Oh gosh.
DeAndre Jordan?
Mr. Jordan. If you love DeAndre Jordan, you should love Tristan Thompson. That's how I feel personally, if you love him.
No.
So
Thompson's not a good defender as DeAndre Jordan is. He don't block shots like DeAndre at all.
Yeah, but Tristan Thompson, a great pick-and-roll defender. That's one thing teams love. They love a great pick-and-roll defender.
But he undersized. At least DeAndre Jordan's a legitimate center. You got Tristan Thompson playing center. He's not even a legit 7-footer.
I understand your point, LA, but if you love DeAndre Jordan, you gotta love Tristan Thompson. They're very similar. They're both horrible free throw shooters, number 1. They're very good defensive players, except that DeAndre Jordan is a superior defensive player over Tristan Thompson. But once again, Knicks, like I said, the Knicks were hamstrung. I can't blame Melo. I gotta blame my previous my previous president of basketball operations and LeBron James for making this deal go down yesterday. Those are the 2 people you have to blame. Once again, I can't blame Scott Perry. Scott Perry's hands were tied. He had to do what he had to do at the end of the day. So I'm not gonna take a cheap shot at him. It's not fair to him. He had to make a move. He did what's best for the Knicks organization. LA, you mentioned this a couple minutes ago. You don't want Anthony to be a distraction. You don't want him to be a poison. Bad enough, people forget behind closed doors. He criticized Porzingis because Porzingis loved the triangle. People forget about that. So, but if this Knicks team is supposed to begin an era on Monday, here's the question I want to ask you guys. And maybe, Ella, you can answer this question better than I can. Why is Kurt Rambis on this team?
I have no idea. He's a defensive specialist, and his defense was terrible.
Yes.
As is the team.
Yes.
I mean, that's what his job was. The team played bad defensively, and I never know him as a great defender himself. So I don't know why you get that type of player/coach. Especially with Phil being gone, I have no idea why he's here at this point. You have any idea what that, Danny D?
You have an answer to that one?
No idea. I have no idea whatsoever.
So I don't get that part. But I hear you. You know, as the season goes by, we'll see if he makes it as well as Hornacek as well too. I think they both is going to be on a hot seat as this season goes along. So, anything else you want to add with that, Danny D?
Only thing I have to add to it, do you guys feel confident that KP can be the main franchise cornerstone of this franchise now? Because basically this is KP's team now.
I'm not sure myself, but this is what I wanted because I feel like going into the next 2 years when you're trying to really build this team, you need to know what you have with KP. And as long as Melo was here, he was going to defer to Melo because he respect Melo like that, you know. Also, Melo's a dominant personality. He's going to get his shots. So now you really see if KP is a number one or a number two option. And if he's a number two, that's fine. You got to go get another one, the one to go with him in 2019, you know, free agency. Because you got to get at least one or two players to go with him anyway. But at least now you know what you got looking at him and see if he can make it through the full season health-wise, if he's getting better, he's progressing or whatever in that nature. You know, so this is what you really wanted right now. Same thing with Frank, less pressure on him now. So now he can slowly build, and you're not really trying to win. You're trying to just get better at this point overall. And this is something I just want to jump real quick is just looking at the players that might be available in 2019 and the following year, 2020. You got LBJ, which I don't believe LeBron is going to Knicks, but let's just say. You got Paul George, you got DeAndre Jordan, you have Klay Thompson, and that's just in 2019. You also have, following year, Hassan Whiteside, Kawhi Leonard, Kyrie Irving, and Jimmy Butler. So you got some players you actually can add to this team that might be willing to come to this team if this team has Porzingis that's playing very well by that point and the two other additional draft picks. So they'll have the cap space. So you just have to make sure it's a team that they believe actually is on the rise at that point. Hopefully Golden State would be lost some players through free agency or trades, as well as the Cleveland and maybe the Boston by that time will be breaking down as well. So that's something to look forward to on that respect. Well, what else do you have to add with that, Flo?
Well, Elliot, my question is, number one, I know you sent me the list for 2019 free agents, but my main question to you is, what are you looking for in terms of age-wise of the players that you love to sign in 2019? Because I have a list of the ages of players that you mentioned, plus I have some more players on the list I think the Knicks should go after in 2019. So my question to you is, what is the age you're looking for? Because a couple players you mentioned are at a certain age. So I want to know what is the age you're looking at.
Well, I feel with that team, it's not so much the age, it's the talent and what they can do. You know, it's not a particular age because Thompson played like that is still going to be young enough in his prime to me, especially playing on a team like Golden State. He's a player that's not even being utilized the way he would be like on a regular team. So, you know, a lot of these players, same thing with Kyrie, was still pretty young by that time too. So, but who's the players you had in mind, you know? Even Hassan Whiteside would still be young, you know?
I have a list of players here. You want me to read them out to you with the ages? You let me know.
No, you can.
Let's start with Kevin Durant, 30 years old in 2019. DeAndre Jordan, 31. Paul George, 29. Klay Thompson, 29. I'm going to name some other players I would love the Knicks to take a look at. All right. Kyrie Irving, 27. Ben McLemore, 26. Kawhi Leonard, 28, who has a player option. Same thing with Kyrie Irving, a player option. Eric Bledsoe, age 30. Jimmy Butler, age 30. Chris Middleton, age 28. Hassan Whiteside, a player option, age 30. Harrison Barnes, player option, age 27. Point guard, Kemba Walker, age 29. Ricky Rubio, my favorite, age 28. Tobias Harris, a sleeper in my opinion, age 27.
Okay. And who are the players out of those that you would really want to pursue? I think they're in enough of their prime that would be fine. Some of them, some would be a little too older. This is why I didn't name people like Durant, and things of that nature. But just looking at overall, I think with Porzingis being your top 2, he'll still be young enough to take the heavy load, hopefully. But if you put him with, let's say, a Klay Thompson, who I think will just be right in his prime still at that point, I'm fine with that as those, one of your top 1 or 2 players on that team. And who is the player that you would like to pursue then?
I'm looking at Tobias Harris. That's one player I'm looking at. I'm looking at Kemba Walker. That's another player I'm looking at. Reason why, both players from New York.
Are they really players that you really want to build around and give legitimate max money to?
I don't have a choice, LA. I would love to get Kawhi Leonard, but guess what? I don't think he's leaving San Antonio. He's a Spur for life.
Okay,
I don't think he's leaving San Antonio.
I think you can get a Klay Thompson. I think you maybe can get a Paul George or a Kyrie Irving. I'm not giving Kemba Walker that type of money. I don't want no part of getting them type of money, man. Not no max. That's the problem. The Knicks before, they always give max money to the players that's not max.
I would love Klay Thompson, but I have to ask myself this question. Is he going to leave Golden State? That's the question I'm asking myself. Highly doubt that. Highly doubt that.
You got to make it hard for him. It's like Danny D said one time, all right, you keep winning, but after a while, how many people want to keep winning the same way? If you got enough rings after a while, do you want your whole career to be this, that, or you want to actually be considered one of the best that ever played? It's the thing that Kyrie eventually, even though he's going to finals every day, he didn't want to be in LeBron's shadow. Same thing Kobe did when he didn't want to play with Shaq anymore. This is what these players do after a while. After they win a certain amount of rings, they want to leave their mark. So, is it really fun just playing defense all day, running around, going against, Kevin Love and stuff and just be known as a super defender when you like one of the best shooters that's in the NBA? I don't know. This is stuff you got to put in their head by that point, And are you going to have them enough money to pay all these people? You got away with this year because people's willing to take less. How much longer is all these players going to keep taking less,
I don't know, LA. I mean, you're looking at a pipe dream. You're looking at a pipe dream right now for 2019. I'm not sure the Knicks can get all these players here. You're looking at a pipe dream. Really looking at a pipe dream. I've offered players. The reason why I brought those players up specifically: Tobias Harris, Tobias Harris, and Kemba Walker. The reason why I mentioned those players. Those players to me, I think they would seriously leave their team to come to New York because they're from here.
No, I hear you. Well, we agree, disagree with that one. What you think about Danny D? What's your opinion on that?
Not an opinion, but you guys have to realize too. Look how the NBA is functioning now. Look, just look how it's functioning, right? Carmelo said no, he's not going to these places, right? He changed his wave clause and he said he's going to OKC because he's going with who? I'm going with Russ or Paul George. These are the same guys I'm playing with in the summertime Olympic team. So the NBA is shifting now. It's no competitive who's who. Like I said before, it's an arms race. It's friends of friends. I'm going to play with my buddies and we're going to win. You understand what I'm saying? Look at the direction. So as a Knick, you have to look at as a team is forget the basketball aspect. It got to be the social aspect of it too. So now KP is going to have to be an ambassador. When he's going to all-star games and stuff like that, he's going to have to network and actually try to sell New York to people so people can come play. Carmelo couldn't do that. So we're going to have to put this on this young kid in KP to be the social ambassador and try to sell New York to these players now. You understand what I'm saying? So as a veteran, I'm thinking, like you said, if I'm Klay Thompson, yeah, okay, but it's New York. Do I really want to go to a team that's half as 500 or I'm going to keep on winning? So that's a social as a person inside yourself you're going to have to look at now. Because teams are ganging up to become super teams, and also they're becoming super teams, and they're playing with their friends.
I told you. I hear you, but it only takes one. The thing you got to remember, Kyrie didn't want to do that. And this is not everything is not going to fall on KP. This is what you're paying Scott Perry for.
But you remember, I know that's not what we're doing, but you remember, LeBron Kyrie didn't want to link up with LeBron. He didn't want to link up with LeBron anyway. He didn't want LeBron to come. Remember, he didn't even know LeBron was coming. So that LeBron came to the Cavs when he was there. It wasn't like Kyrie said, you know what, I'm going to join with LeBron James. No, LeBron came when Kyrie was there.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
No,
It only takes one or two players to take that chance on this team. Like I said, I don't think everybody's going to want to go down that road. And this teams are not going to be able to keep everybody. This is what I'm saying. As these teams continue to get older, you're going to have to take your money and invest it in somebody. You're not going to be able to keep paying all these people less and less and less. Eventually, some of these players are going to have to take the chance and get their money somewhere else. And you have to be a team that they have to feel is on that upper echelon level. Hopefully, with the KP playing better and you get one of the top picks this year, if the Knicks be as bad as I think they're going to be, these are the type of things you're going to try to do. And you got Scott Perry, and you have New York, and you have the full cap space. Not saying that's definitely going to happen, but that's the only road you can go to right now because you don't have anything else to look forward to. So I definitely where y'all guys coming from. I'm like, what else road are you going to go to at this point, though? Unless you're just going to throw your hands in the air and just give up. I'm not going to give my money to people just to give my money to them.
No, it's not. It's not gonna give up. It's not the things like that. Not to give up. But then, like, I understand where you're coming from, and I see where Flo's coming from. He's saying, like, damn, if Clay goes somewhere, we got it. And that's how we make the mistake of giving us a bum like Jakim Noah. Because nobody wants to come to New York because he's a bum. And we give him $72 million. Exactly. And then you know what? Oh, we don't got a shooting guard. Because we had, but then again, that's what, if they don't come. Because then we want Eric Gordon. We'd love to have Eric Gordon. No disrespect to him, but I want Eric Gordon. Eric Gordon's like, no, I don't want to come to New York. What we gonna do? Like you said, we gotta have somebody to come play, or we be damned again.
But you don't give them all your max money no more. You take a hit from the league. I'm not giving all that money to these Tobias Harris dudes no more. If you're not a star player, I'm not giving you star money, Jakeem Noah. I'm not giving you that because this handcuffs you for the next 3-4 years when you do this stuff. I'd rather take the hit from the league for not spending enough money there. That's what you have to end up doing.
But
just
LA,
the bare minimum.
LA, you just made that statement, but keep in mind, our illustrious GM made that same mistake by offering Tim Hardaway Jr. $71 million. Remember that. So we already still made the same mistake that our previous GM basketball operations made the same mistake, by bringing Joakim Noah and Courtney Lee. So
I agree.
again,
that's why I say you cannot go down that road anymore. That's my point. You can't do that and go after them dudes that's in between just because they willing to come here. I'm not giving you that type of money no more. I'm saving my money for the big time players. And I make a hard push at Kyrie. I make a hard push at a Thompson. Make a hard push at a Paul George or somebody like that who really willing to come here, who might want to come here for that type of thing. Not saying it's guaranteed. None of this stuff is guaranteed, fellas. But you got to take a chance on some of these guys. All you need is one or two to say yes. That's the whole big thing. It's not like football or something like that when you need a ton of players to win. Basketball can change the whole dynamics on one or two players. The big thing is you got to make sure you sign KP, and you got to have the cap space, and you got to have the picks that's worth something to make a team feel like they're willing to take a chance coming over here. That's the thing. You got to be ready for the opportunity. Because right now, the Knicks weren't ready for opportunity for a Kyrie or something like that. But now, hopefully, when he does decide if he don't want to stay with Boston, you might be ready for him. And he's still young enough that he still be someone in his prime to get you over the hump, if that's the case,
I understand. I understand, LA, your point, but you got to be ready for Plan B and offer money to a guy like Kemba Walker or Tobias Harris. You got to have a Plan B in place. You go after Klay Thompson and he rejects you, you're gonna feel like an idiot because you wasted all your time going after him.
I'm gonna feel like an idiot for getting Kemba Walker all that money. Just like I feel like even doing the Dutch Game Noah and Tim Hardaway. I'd rather hold that money. You don't have to spend all of it. You just got to spend enough that you don't get fined. And if you do that, then sign a player for 1 or 2 years so you could get another player that's going to actually really help you. But I'm not going to haircut myself for 4 or 5 years just paying these guys just because they want to come here. That's the only thing I'm saying. You can't. We done did this for years with the Courtney Lees of the world. That's not helping us, That's not enough.
We don't have to offer these guys 5-year deals. We'll offer them 4-year deals. We don't have to offer them 5-year deals. 4 years is the most.
I don't want a period. I don't want them dudes. I know what I'm getting with them guys. I don't want players like that no more. Excuse me. I don't need them type of players no more.
Kemba Walker can play, man.
He can play, but I don't want him as no starting point guard for my championship team.
Who, Kemba Walker?
I don't want him for my team.
Kemba Walker's an all-star.
He's an all-star. What do he win?
Wow.
More than what
a
Knicks won.
disrespect, Kemba Walker.
Not disrespect. I'm being honest.
It's more than.
And how old is he going to be then?
It's more than the Knicks.
What is he going to be in 2 years?
Listen, hey guys. Listen. I'll take Kemba over Ramon Sessions right now any day of the week.
I take a lot of people who in the D League over Ramon Sessions. Ramon Sessions not be on this team, man. That's not saying much. But I'm just saying I don't want to build my team around that, man.
Kemba can play. Man.
He can play.
I know what it is. I know what it is. I know what it is, Flo. I know what it is, Flo, guys. Listeners, I know what it is. LA got that love for Ron Baker because that's Ron Baker's spot. That's what it is.
Exactly.
That's what it is.
Oh, you saw right through me, man. I'm trying to keep that spot open for him.
I know what it is. That's what it was. That's what it is. Gonna hold it down. Ron Baker's gonna hold it down. This shit. I got you. I see you.
Oh man. Dad, you saw right through it, man. That's all right though. He'll be about 29 years old. I take him over Tobias Harris. I put it that way. I don't want Tobias Harris getting that type of money.
I feel what you. I understand what you're saying. I agree with both of y'all. I agree with both of y'all.
I hear where y'all coming from though, but that's cool. But that's pretty much it for the Knicks right now. The weekly Knicks roundup and this special episode we're going Carmelo Anthony. And guys, want to jump to the next segment, which is basically our NBA and Sporting News weekly review. All right, guys. Thanks for that debate right there. But for the NBA Sporting the weekly news and review, is there any sporting related topic that you guys like to briefly discuss? I think Flo, you said you had something earlier you wanted to talk about real quick.
Yes, LA. I just want to bring this up. Once again, the Philadelphia 76ers backup center, Jahlil Okafor, is on the trade market again. Gentlemen, what's your take on this, man?
Oh, Lord. I feel like this is like Groundhog's Day with that guy, man. It's like he talk about his trade offers a lot. Is there any particular team he talked about, Flo, that he might be sending them to this time?
No, I haven't heard anything in terms of any specific teams, but it seems like they want to trade him, and it seems like he wants out of Philadelphia.
This is a bad fit for him to be in Philadelphia anyway, be honest with you. So, so just looking at it, I guess you can see what you can get. Although they might really want to hold on to him just because now they don't have Nerlens and you don't know how healthy Embiid is going to be. So you might actually really need him, and you might want to wait a little bit to see how the season goes. But what you think about that overall, Danny D?
Yeah, like you said, he's a 7-footer who can play. Just got to do his attitude adjustment. But now, like you said, they don't have a lot of centers now because Norris is not there anymore. So you really don't have a backup to have a suitable guy. So if I'm Philadelphia, I'm gonna have to hold on that one.
Okay. How about you, Flo? What you think about it?
I think with Okafor, he's trying to, I think he wants to go somewhere where he can shine. He feels like with that team right now, it's Embiid's team. That's LA's boy. But once again, we had this conversation in LA on Friday night. Can you rely on Embiid to play more than 36 games this year?
I think you have to. I don't know if he's ready for that yet. But, it's one of them things time will tell. I just hope he stays healthy. I think the guy's got tremendous talent. And I just really want to see his career, flourish without the injury issues. But, time will tell, in my opinion.
I agree. Embiid has talent. I'm not disputing that. But, again, he's got to prove himself that he can stay healthy. He's not even clear to play 5-on-5 come training camp. So that's a big issue right now for the 76ers. I think if you're the 76ers, you got to start Okafor right now until Embiid is healthy.
No, I agree. I agree with that. Got really no choice at this point. That's why I said I think I will hold on to him. Because he's not making a lot of money yet either. So why spend a lot of money when you don't have to,
That's true.
What he's worth right now. And he might play better now that they got a legitimate point guard. So, see what the guy has talent. He's kind of like a throwback center. And like you said, he's got to be in right shape and everything. So, Just see what he can do with this point guard they have right now. A lot of times that can make a center play a lot better because they're actually looking for him in the box and stuff like that. But, we will see as the season goes along. Anything else you had to add there, Flo?
No, I'm good, LA.
Okay. The only sports topic I had was two smaller ones, gentlemen. And just quick thoughts about that. I saw Tony Allen recently signed with the New Orleans Pelicans for $2.3 million for 1 year. And, it's a low risk, maybe a low reward type deal. But I'm just thinking, do you think that deal is actually going to help New Orleans? And do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing or just indifferent type of thing? Starting with you, Flo.
As long as he's coming off the bench and he's a mentor to Boogie Cousins and Anthony Davis, so low risk free agent signing for the Pelicans. So kudos to Dell Demps, the GM of the New Orleans Pelicans. Excellent job by going after Tony Allen. I know he's a little bit older, he's coming off knee surgery, but again, he's a veteran, first team All NBA defensive player. So, hopefully it should help that team. But coming off the bench, not as a starter, coming off the bench, though.
Okay. And how about you, Danny D?
Yeah, it's indifferent. He's a veteran, and he can teach some of those young guys out there how to play defense and give his mentorship out there.
Yeah, I'm thinking that, too. I agree with both of you guys. He's 35. He's not a great shooter. But he's come from a winning organization with Memphis. Didn't go, championship, but they was consistently in the playoffs. And I think he can be a good, in-between guy with Boogie and as well with Anthony Davis. So I think it might help him. One of them guys might be a glue guy, might help them out, especially defensive-wise, made the guy at least be in the right spot type of thing. And the other thing I was looking at was my man Wiggins, a.k.a. the Maple Jordan, as they call him. He's sitting on that 5-year, $148 million contract, and he recently got rid of his agent as well. And I was just looking at the guys and just want to know, what do you think about that? Do you think he should just already sign? He got until the last day before the regular season begins. And do you think there's going to be more of a pattern for players to do when they're in this type of position? Because basically he's able to save 4% of the salary because NBA free agents are required to at least get 4% of any contract they sign, I believe. So do you think there's going to be a pattern for players that's in this type of position, or do you think there's going to be a one-time thing for this type of player? And do you think he should sign with the Minnesota Timberwolves long-term? Starting with you, Danny D.
Oh, I was looking at that, too, and I realized, too, it doesn't matter if he got a new agent. As long as his first agent started the proposition, he got to pay him. So I don't know how he's going to try to wait. I heard he's trying to wait it out to sign. But as long as his first agent made the initial contact and started the deal, he has to pay. His original agent is going to get money for it, regardless. So he has to pay him. I don't know what his new firm's thinking about that. They got to pay that man. But overall,
that's interesting.
Yeah, I don't see as being a new deal. I guess I thought maybe he had those guys since he was a rookie. Like you said, there's no more loyalty. I can see that, but it is what it is. For a new trend, I'm not sure. I really can't say.
Okay, thank you, D. How about you, Flo?
The only thing I think of why he refused to sign the contract right now, maybe he needs a confirmation from Jimmy Butler stating that he's going to stay after 2 years instead of leaving as a free agent. That's the only reason why I think he refused to sign that contract right now. He knows Cat going to get his money. That's why Cat is very, Cat, when Cat found out about the offer, Cat's like, yes, all right, that's good. That's sign the right direction, But maybe he's waiting for Jimmy Butler. He needs a confirmation from Jimmy Butler stating, a promise from Jimmy Butler stating, yes, I will resign in 2 years.
Okay. Thanks, Flo. You both made good points. I agree with you on both levels there, fellas. I think it may be a trend for certain players who feel the ability they can get these things done, and they know they already slotted for a max contract. But like you said, Danny D, not quite sure yet. But it's just something interesting I thought, and some NBA fan need to keep an eye on. But that concludes today's show. Much appreciated, guys. And for closing remarks, how about you, Danny D? What's your closing remarks for today?
And I want to thank you guys for having me on the show. Great time debating, talking NBA news. Thanks again, Carmelo. Great time in New York. Hope everything goes with your physical. Want to thank the fans and keep on listening, keep on showing love and support.
Okay, thank you, Dan D. How about you, Flo? What's your closing remarks?
LAD, I want to thank you guys for allowing me to be part of a good show, Knicks Fandom. This is a show for all the NBA fans, for Knicks fans around the world. I want to thank all the listeners. Please tell a friend and tell a friend. Subscribe to the show. We're all over the place. We're on YouTube. We're on Spreaker.com. We're on SoundCloud. We're on TuneIn. We're all over. Please, thank you so much, listeners, for all the support. But definitely, please, we encourage you guys to leave a comment. Let tell a friend, tell another friend. Thank you so much for listening to the show. I want to thank both of you gentlemen once again for allowing me to be part of this great show right now, Knicks Fandom. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, dear Flo. Much appreciated as well. As always, thanks again, guys. Tremendous contribution to the show. Couldn't do it without y'all. Big thank you to the dedicated listeners. You're very much appreciated. Make sure to stay tuned to our Facebook page, our Twitter account, regarding any and all announcements. And remember, people, in these trying times, the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. Stay out there, stay strong. Much respect to everybody. Peace. See ya.